Well, a renewed welcome, everybody, to those of you especially joining us via our live streaming broadcast this morning. It's great to have you with us. As Jesus passed by, he saw a man blind from birth. He spat on the ground and made clay with his saliva and smeared the clay on his eyes and said, "Go and wash in the pool of Siloam." So he went and washed and came back able to see. Blindness. Many times, of course, we know everybody, it's not just our own, but also around us. Not unlike the Pharisees in the gospel. Michael was a former parishioner of mine who sadly, as a teen, had an accident that left him blind. As so many are doing right now, in the midst of this national and indeed global crisis, so did many in the parish back then. We tried to help. We prayed for him. We encouraged him. We did everything possible to assist him to come to the reality, to come to its terms of what was going on in his life. It was rough. And despite the best efforts of so many, isolation and bitterness set in. He was mean to his family and often would lash out at them and others. In talking with him, Michael said he felt as if trapped, sort of like he said, a ship caught up in a fog of uncertainty. Powerless. His parents, none of us knew how to help. Then celebrating her feast day on the 11th of February, some light. A pilgrimage to Lourdes, that great shrine of our Blessed Mother. The idea to go on that pilgrimage where healing by God can and does happen, even to this day. For a small parish, surprising how it all added up, what people wanted to do to help. So Michael and his parents, off they went to those healing waters in Lourdes, France, to pray for a miracle. His family sent word of a powerful pilgrimage as they were making their word back. And so many were waiting that next Sunday before Mass to welcome them. Michael, of course, the center of a lot of attention. And when he walked into the nave of the church, it was audible. The white cane hitting the tile, and with it, the hopes of many, as he made his way to his usual seat. No miracle. And yet, something different. Even just sitting there, Michael was beaming. He said, after I invited him up at the end of Mass for a few short words, "I know you probably are all disappointed. It may not look like it, but it was a miracle. My sight has returned, though not as you can see. I was blinded," he said. "I felt sorry for myself. I hated the people who loved me. I cursed God. I doubted that my life had any purpose at all. So blinded was I to all the care and the support and the faith and the love that was all around me." It was that blindness that at Lourdes, he said, was washed by God. And now I see that God's with me and he's blessed me with a great family and with each of you who care for me. So he said, "You see, everybody, today I'm not blind anymore." In a way, everybody, every sacred season of Lent is like that. That kind of light. How we invite God to bring his light to areas where we're all blind. Places where we've blocked out the light of Christ. With what's about us now, I can't remember a time in my lifetime when there's been so much uncertainty and even near frenzy. We've all seen it. The paper goods in the grocery store, a ghost town. But the soap aisle right next door, fully stocked. Haven't figured that one out yet. The market in New York, 1 week, an all-time high. Then the gains of 4 years, gone. Unknowns even to the best in science, especially when all its effects are too clear. The devastating effects on whole cities and families. You saw it in the news, 4 in one family in New Jersey, and in northern Italy, 18 of my brother priests. That's almost as many priests as serve the entire Raleigh area. Have we been in some ways blind in being dismissive of precautions as seemingly unnecessary? Much more to it, though, than just that. Especially as fittingly, in these sacred days of Lent, the whole world, in effect, everybody is forced to go on retreat, as together we starve out this virus. 2 couples. One I married yesterday. Both, in effect, said to me, "In the end, Monsignor, all we need is our immediate family and you and God's blessing, the sacrament of marriage. The rest, wonderful, but this is all we need as we begin our life together." Eyes opened to the essentials, what we truly need. One message of light from our Lord, today whispering to us all. Another from one of our teachers, doing distance learning instruction as a teacher. Still, I said to her, "Perhaps no more snow days." And she laughed. She's at our Cathedral school, and I suspect she and many of our Cathedral school students are watching now. She remarking that, of course, it's not the same doing distance instruction, but it's great, she says, because of what she sees. Families together, eyes opened in a new way to that smallest of all communities God gives us, the family. Just how central they are in what always we have as an opportunity with them. Homework together, to play together, and also to pray together. To God our hope, our strength, our rock of salvation. Still more. One couple, both working outside the home, said it this week. Sequestered at home, they said, "Monsignor, we're only at about 70 to 80% efficiency with work," which got me thinking. Today's 70 to 80% perhaps is 20 years ago's 90 to 100%. Perhaps eyes open toward not being defined by work that can consume life's entirety, leading little, if anything, for others. Living in downtown Raleigh, there at Sacred Heart as we do, you can even hear it, or better, not hear it. There's quiet as the world slows down, leaves room from being filled up absolutely to the brim. So now you can hear. God's got our attention. So what's he saying? What is his light illuminating? For one prominent person here in Raleigh, whose name I won't mention, he texted me as we were discussing putting off our coffee to a better time. He said, "How I miss the Eucharist. My heart aches for our Lord." Eyes opened, all of us, in some way, to the centrality of what, or rather should I say who, were given in this most blessed sacrament. But also the effects of his real presence in our lives as we consume him and he us. Eyes open too in that most personal effect of us fasting, sacrificing as we hunger for him and do our best with spiritual communion at this Mass via video. Bishop Luis and many a brother bishop and others have said it. It's out of charity. Charity for one another. Ironically, out of great care for not coming together with others in making the sacrifices we need to do to look after the health of others. Out of charity. Loving one another for the sake of the other. In this case, for their health. And maybe their life. That most precious of gifts of the Lord to all of us. Eyes opened. Not just part, of course, of the joy that is this Laetare Sunday. Blindness is not where our Lord seeks to leave us. Instead, he bends down. He makes that paste with his saliva, and he is applying it now to us, to cure us with the power of his light. To what part of your life, to what part of your soul would you now have him? What personal blindness, what sin in your life, and those in which you've collaborated, would you ask him to now heal? Allow him to help you to see through the power of his mercy, the salve of his forgiveness, and so now to come to know the very freedom of his light.